Maybe you're stuck with pieces that now feel like a waste of money, or you have a closet full of clothes but somehow have nothing to wear. Well, luckily you aren't alone. Unfortunately though, there's serious repercussions to overconsumption, including environmental damages, exploitation, and declining mental health. In this video, we'll go over fast fashion, resellers, what exactly is causing us to buy so many clothes, and how it affects your style. So who or what's guilty of causing all of this overconsumption? Well, humans are, but specifically from the dopamine hits we receive when buying something. This has become even more of a threat with the popularity of online shopping, where not only do you get the dopamine from buying the product, but also when it arrives. If you're like me, you get more excited from the anticipation of the UPS and FedEx trucks to pull up than actually opening the package. The Atlantic shared that this might not totally be our fault, and instead, evolution can take at least part of the blame. The more stuff you had, the more likely you were to survive. However, instead of collecting wood or scavenging for food, we switched to filling up sneaker racks and fat closets. A big part of our current problem with overconsumption is our unhealthy relationship with shopping. Shopping both in person or more easily online has become an activity rather than a necessity. It's become normalized to search for something to buy rather than only shopping for what we actually need. Anyone watching this video can probably relate as you have an interest in fashion. I know I'm addicted to the fun of the hunt. Searching for deals or trying to find a piece I've never seen anyone else wear is specifically fun to me. Although comparing your style to someone else also ties into our overconsumption. Comparison is a thief of joy, and unfortunately, comparison leads to a lot of fashion overconsumption. I definitely have, and I assume others watching have decided to buy clothes after comparing their style to somebody else's. Seeing new pieces and fit pics every day builds up the temptation to buy more and neglects the benefits of being satisfied with your current closet. With fashion content being widely accessible through YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, it's kinda hard not to compare your style to others. This can lead to finding some great outfit and style inspiration, but I've also watched content that made me feel like my style was boring or basic. When you begin to compare yourself to someone with lots of followers or subscribers and your style isn't similar to theirs, it can feel a bit intimidating. Maybe you can relate, but to make up for this feeling, I'd often find myself searching for a gap to fill in my closet. The problem is, even after you fill that gap with a new jacket, sneakers, or whatever you thought would improve your style, there's always going to be something new to buy. Trends play a huge role in overconsumption for this exact reason. The competition for fashion influencers to keep up and post trends has definitely increased, which also increased their followers buying to keep up with the influencers they enjoy. We're pushed to believe the latest trends are the solution to improving our style. Oftentimes this comes through the form of impulse purchases, which is unfortunately something we can all be guilty of. I consistently get solid recommendations from eBay, Grailed, and even StockX with products I didn't know I wanted. Personally, I believe impulse buying is a huge problem, but especially within streetwear. Streetwear has capitalized from limited releases. When you know drops are going to sell out in seconds, there isn't time to rationalize your purchases. With streetwear retail prices also usually being reasonable, it also makes it easier to buy products with less financial consideration. You can always resort to reselling and at least get some money back. If you didn't already hate resellers or scalpers, maybe you will after hearing the role they play in overconsumption. There has never been a better time to sell sneakers or clothes online. eBay, StockX, Grailed, and Depop are all competing to make selling as convenient as possible. Yes, reselling has allowed secondhand shopping to be more accessible, but with reselling becoming normalized, it's partially taken away the risk of buying more clothing. Constantly consuming fashion has become possible without the risk of wasting money. If you're watching and questioning whether you're over-consuming fashion, a common example seems to be if you need to justify your purchases. I've 100% been guilty of this in the past, specifically with buying sneakers. I used to justify my purchases by watching reviews before or even after they were delivered. Reviews can be helpful when learning new details or hearing feedback on your purchases, but if you need someone else to convince you to buy something, you probably didn't really need that item in the first place. The truth about fast fashion is most people don't give a shit. If you buy from fast fashion because that's all you can afford, then that's understandable. However, when people share how dangerous and harmful the fast fashion industry is, unless their own lives are affected, or we see this danger firsthand, is not going to change the buying behavior for those posting massive Shein hauls. There are 3 big problems with fast fashion that contribute to overconsumption. First, fast fashion serves as the cheapest, low-risk way to keep up with the new trends and aesthetics that have become super popular to participate in. Second, by selling products so cheap, it makes buyers question, is it really worth the time and effort to return something when maybe there's a possibility you'll wear it in the future? And third, the idea that since the clothes were so cheap, I'll just donate them. This becomes wishful thinking and a way of not taking responsibility, since so many clothes that are donated never actually sell. However, there are misconceptions of fast fashion since they've picked up the villain role. If it's what you can afford, then try to get as many wears out of your purchases as possible. The key to remember with fast fashion is if the price is too good to be true, then it probably is. I wouldn't expect to get a great technical jacket like an Arc'teryx alternative or a great pair of denim from a fast fashion brand, but with something basic like tees and hoodies, it's not as difficult to make a decent product that you can still get a ton of wears out of. What's helped me the most in limiting unnecessary purchases is adopting the idea that you can appreciate clothes without buying them. This is specifically beneficial if you're contemplating on buying into a trend or something you've never worn before. A similar tip to avoid getting caught up in the hype is making sure the clothes you buy are for your personal enjoyment. The idea of flexing money or knowledge has triggered us into buying clothes based on how other people will perceive our style rather than what we actually like. Luckily, if you're still in the mood to buy stuff, not just clothes and sneakers, but anything, I've set up an Amazon storefront with product recommendations, and it's got everything from clothes to my skincare to favorite movies. So go see what we have in common, and I'll see you next time. Peace.